didn't actually set out to do all this stuff. I will tell you. I studied accounting, if you can believe that. I studied accounting. I started, my first role was in, I actually love tax. So my first role was I was a tax consultant, right? So if you look at actually from my time when I entered into the digital space, that's when a lot of things started moving in the right place in the right time, right? I got into search engine optimization very, very early on when you first started, right? You came with the first portal in Malaysia. Then after that, I went and did my MBA, and then after that, I actually joined a company. Believe it or not, do you remember when we did Singapore Idol, or one of those American Idol stuff where you had the text to TV and you were voting for it? We were the ones who did this in Singapore. We were the first one who did this in Singapore, and then after that, we rolled out the first mobile ESPN across Asia, which is very very exciting. And then I went and did my MBA. And when I did my MBA and I came back and I was in the US, I was looking for another job in mobile, because I really believed in mobile first at that time, right? Because we were spearheading a lot of the mobile initiatives. And in 2007, guess what happened? iPhone launched, right? And I got into a company that, believe it or not, was developing mobile sites for all the media companies in the US. So I worked with, my clients were NBC, MTV, we did all the NBC Olympics mobile sites, and so on. And from there, I was like, maybe there is an angle for mobile advertising. And I went into mobile advertising. And that's when mobile advertising started getting, very interesting, and so on and so forth. So I got in there, and lo and behold, along the way, I was thinking, I think mobile payments is going to be next. Because because when you're in the industry, especially when you're in the US, you hear a lot of buzzes. It's not that I go find it, right? And it's not like I go and find these things. It's just you hear the buzzes and you go, this may be a next area that you should be getting into. And I did, right? And then I was in a company that did that was bought over by MasterCard. So I extended my role in MasterCard and drove a lot of consumer adoption for digital payments globally, right? So it was fun working with my teams in the different regions, but at the same time, I was also working with local banks in the different regions. Along the way, certain things happened. I had to come back to Singapore, and when I came back to Singapore, I found this role in DBS, and this role has actually led me down the path of data and AI. Imagine that, right? And guess what? We are in the data and AI world since 2-3 years ago, right? So I would like to say I have been really blessed. I didn't go out and search for all this job. I was just there at the right place in the right time when things happen, and I was placed in this really awesome companies, and that grew my career, and that grew my wealth of knowledge on, like you pointed out, the wealth of knowledge or wealth of experience that I've gained across a myriad of forerunning, cutting-edge technology companies. I think one of the I would say pivotal skills that you need to actually hone is your communication skills. Right. I don't say it with just as a passing remark, but I realized that because I have had the roles in local markets, regional markets, global markets, your communication skills and to have the EQ to acknowledge cultural differences or cultural nuances is key. And that communication skills, I have to say, Cash, you cannot learn, you cannot study. You have to gain that experience on the job, right? So that to me is one of the key things that I think is important for a person to actually grow in their career. especially if you don't want to stay in a local context and you want to go region and you want to go global. That I think is very, very important. Now, the other thing, given my background, right, of being able to move into different industries, is not just the willingness to learn, right? Willingness to learn is, I think, is a given. Willingness to learn, everybody says, oh, I want to learn on the job. So everybody comes in, and especially when they're starting out, that's one thing they always say. But willingness to learn coupled with being ready to get your hands dirty, as in get down and do the actual work. Because I will tell you, the way you learn is by doing. I would say the mottos, or things that you do that you don't lose yourself in the path of chasing your career dream, or wanting to, your aspiration of being the head of the department in X number of time, that kind of thing. What is it that you have, right? What is in your core that you can anchor yourself to, so that you don't lose yourself while you are chasing all these dreams, right? So I'm a Christian, so I'll bring faith in a little bit, if you don't mind that. I'm a Christian, and I became a Christian when I was studying in the US in my undergrad. And at that time, I heard this phrase: God first, family second, career third. I was like, okay, I understood it. There's something, when you understand something, it's knowledge. I will tell you, it didn't sink into my heart or into my core until very much later, until I've gone through I had fun in my career. I had lots of fun in my career. But I never had this God first, family second, career third. I never really understood this until there's no pivotal moment and no awe-inspiring moment, but it just slowly became that, right? And when it sunk into your heart and you understand it in your heart, so from head knowledge to heart knowledge, right? That's when you go, there's a reason why you put God first, right? Because He's the one who's leading you, He's the one who's guiding you. And if anything deviates, you can always go back to Him. Along my career, I had a couple of retrenchments, and I tell you, without faith of looking and finding the next best job, this role that I have is from one of those. And I will tell you, in that year of trying to find a new job, I actually had an opportunity to have a role as a CDO, Chief Digital Officer. I was the final two candidates, and and I didn't get the job because the owner liked the first candidate that they interviewed, and immediately went, oh, I like this candidate, I will just go with this candidate. I'm like, what? But you didn't even give me a chance, right? But in hindsight, if you look at that and you look at where I am right now, that role and this role will not give me this data, this AI ML experience, right? And that's also because I was like, all right, Lord, I think you know what's best for me. If this role wasn't for me, then fine, you close the door and you open another door for me that has a better potential for my growth. We all have heard of this analogy where you have an empty glass or empty vase, and you put in the big stones, and then you put in the sand, right? You remember that story? It's the same analogy. God first, family second, career will fall into place.